You may not remember the exact moment when the weight of the day finally lets go of your shoulders, when the last string of tension unwinds from your chest. But if you listen closely, right now, in the flickering hush between one breath and the next, you might hear it, a faint, shimmering hum, like the soft vibration of distant stardust brushing against the edge of your awareness. That is where our story truly begins. Far beyond the quiet suburbs and cities of the United States, beyond the clouds drifting lazily over the continent, beyond even the satellites circling in cold and dutiful arcs, there lies a region of space known only in classified astrophysical reports, the Orion Whisper Line. Most people have never heard of it, and those who have, those who've worked in certain dimly lit government labs, those who've stared too long at anomalous radio waves, those who've felt their hearts flutter at signals that should not exist, rarely speak of it aloud. But tonight, as you sink deeper into stillness, you will travel there, not in a rocket, not in a dream, but in a gentle drifting of consciousness, like a feather carried by a cosmic breeze. The story follows Dr. Elara Myles, a quiet but brilliant astrophysicist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. In the daytime world, she prefers dim libraries, cold coffee, and the hum of old servers. But at night, she listens to the universe speak. And on the night this story begins, she hears something no human being has ever heard before. It starts with the softest sound, a narrow, wavering tone rising from one of the deep space listening arrays. A tone so delicate that most software filters would simply erase it as background noise. But Elara never trusts automatic filters. She has spent years tuning her ears, metaphorical and literal, to the strange, beautiful frequencies of space. She knows cosmic background radiation. She knows pulsars. She knows the typical irregularities caused by plasma storms. She knows the artificial distortions that malfunctioning equipment can create. But she has never heard anything like this. The tone is almost melodic, almost sorrowful, almost like the sigh of a distant ocean rolling across a shore made of dark matter. She leans closer to the monitor, where lines of spectral data shimmer in soft blue and silver. The signal pulses 3 times, then stops, then pulses again. Not regular enough to be mechanical, yet too patterned to be natural. Elara whispers under her breath, "Where are you coming from?" The system's coordinate readout flashes faintly. RA5H35M, deck -5 degrees. A chill runs up her arms. The signal is coming from deep within the Orion molecular cloud complex, the birthplace of stars, rivers of gas and dust stretching nearly 25 light-years wide. It is one of the most studied star-forming regions in astronomy, yet still one of the most mysterious. She turns up the sensitivity, and the signal expands like a soft, blooming flower. More harmonics appear, small, fragile filaments of tone intertwining, almost weaving together. She feels her heartbeat slow, as though the sound is syncing with her body in a strangely calming rhythm. She reclines in her chair, the lights dim around her, monitors casting blue halos on her tired face. Outside the lab's long windows, the California night sky glows faintly orange from distant city lights, the stars barely visible. But she doesn't need to look outside to know the universe is very awake tonight. As she listens, something unexpected happens. The sound stops. Silence. Deep, heavy, absolute. Then, in that silence, a soft voice, not human, seems to brush the edge of her consciousness. She doesn't hear it with her ears. It's more like the whisper sits on the boundary between perception and imagination, just gentle enough to be dismissed as fatigue, yet distinct enough to raise the hairs on her neck. A single phrase, drifting like a falling star. You are late. Elara stiffens. Her rational mind immediately tries to explain it away. Sleep deprivation, auditory hallucination induced by monotonous frequencies, imaginative projection, anything but what it felt like. Contact. She presses her palms against the cold metal of the console, grounding herself in reality. This is impossible, she says aloud. Completely impossible. But part of her, a deep, ancient part, knows that the universe has never been limited by what humans call possible. Her next move is automatic. She begins recording a full bandwidth sweep of the signal spectrum, capturing every microsecond of data. She tags the file, encrypts it, logs the metadata. Every action calm, methodical, but her heartbeat is not calm. Her breath is not steady. Her eyes keep drifting toward the dark window as though something to appear outside. The hum returns. But this time, there is structure. It rises and falls gently, like waves lapping against the shore of a cosmic ocean. The harmonics form layers, frequencies overlapping like braided threads. As it unfolds, Elara begins recognizing something extraordinary. The structure mirrors aspects of primordial cosmic background ripples, but shaped into rhythmic patterns that could not have developed naturally. It's almost like something, has woven the early echo of the universe into a message. The thought brings a kind of peaceful dread, a reverence mixed with fear. She closes her eyes, and then she sees it. A vision unfolds, not an image exactly, more like the internal projection of an idea. A swirling nebula, soft tendrils of purple and blue drifting like ancient spirits. Tiny sparks of new stars blink within the haze. Something moves behind the dust, partially concealed, vast and slow. The whisper returns. You are late. Elara stiffens. Her breath catches. She tries to speak, but her voice hitches. A small, warm pressure forms at the center of her chest, as though someone touched her gently from the inside. She opens her eyes abruptly, expecting the lab to be different, changed somehow. But everything looks the same. Same dim lights, same blinking servers, same distant hum of machines, except a small, barely visible distortion shimmers near the far wall, like heat ripples rising from a desert highway. She blinks. It disappears. Morning sunlight slid quietly across the floor of Elara's bedroom, painting long golden stripes that glowed against the soft gray carpet. For a few seconds, she couldn't remember where she was, or who she was. The remnants of strange dreams clung to her like fine mist, swirling nebulae, pulsing stars, fragments of whispered words drifting just beyond memory's reach. She lay still, breathing silently, trying to catch the leftovers of the night before they faded completely. There was a faint echo in her chest, like a leftover vibration from a long, low bell. Not painful, not frightening, just present, like the soft reminder of something waiting. When she finally opened her eyes fully, her laptop rested on the nightstand beside her. The screen glowed faintly. She frowned. She didn't remember leaving it open. She definitely didn't remember typing anything else after the final strange message the night before. She leaned over, tapped the trackpad gently, and froze. A new line had been added beneath the sentence she remembered. Follow the light that listens. Then listen back. Her heartbeat stumbled. She hadn't typed that. She knew she hadn't. She was too exhausted. She had fallen asleep almost instantly. She looked around the room, not expecting to see anything, but still compelled to check. Everything was just as she left it. The framed poster of the Orion Nebula on the wall, the nightstand cluttered with star maps, the soft blanket thrown carelessly over the chair. Nothing unusual, no shimmering distortions, no cosmic visitors, but the words on the screen were undeniable. She stepped into the shower, trying to wash away the tension building behind her ribs. Hot water flowed over her skin, steam rising around her like faint fog. Yet no matter how she tried to lose herself in the ordinary rhythm of morning, she couldn't shake the memory of the signal, the whisper, or the way the stars seemed to pulse in recognition. Later, she drove back to JPL, her thoughts looping endlessly around the same question: why her? She had colleagues far more decorated, astrophysicists who had published groundbreaking work, who had access to higher-level classified projects. She had always worked quietly, preferring data to people. There was nothing extraordinary about her, at least nothing she believed. But the universe did not seem to agree. As she approached the facility, her keycard beeped as usual, and the gates opened. A guard waved her through casually. Everything looked normal, ordinary, comfortingly mundane, until she stepped inside her lab. Her main console was on. She had turned it off last night. Her stomach tightened. She moved closer, slowly, as though approaching a sleeping animal. The monitors glowed with streams of spectral data, thousands of lines running faster than she could read. But this wasn't a replay of last night's recordings.
This was live input. Except the listening array she worked with was not scheduled for active use. It wasn't even pointed toward Orion right now. She checked the equipment. Everything was exactly where it should be. No signs of tampering, no unauthorized personnel logged in. Her access codes had not been used.
Yet the system was pulling data. But from where? The source field read, unknown external node. Impossible. There were no external nodes connected to this system. It was isolated from the main network specifically to prevent unauthorized access. Elara exhaled slowly. Her breath trembled. She clicked open the raw audio feed. For a moment, only silence. Deep, empty silence. She leaned back, frustration mixing with unease. Then she heard it. A soft, faint hum. Not the same as last night. This one was lower, slower, like a deep cosmic heartbeat echoing across light years. The sound seemed to vibrate gently through the floor, the desk, the air. She swallowed, her throat tight. A voice rose from within the hum. Not spoken in any human language, not even exactly words, more like the shape of meaning carried on sound. You woke. We saw. Elara's fingernails dug into the arm of her chair. Her skin prickled with goosebumps. She whispered, "Who are you?" No answer. Just the hum. She leaned closer to the monitor involuntarily, and the hum grew clearer, almost like it responded to her movement. She swallowed again. "Why me?" she asked softly. This time something flickered across the screen. Not a message, not text, but a distortion, like a ripple on a pond caused by an unseen pebble. It pulsed once, then again, then expanded outward until the entire screen blurred into swirling waves of color. A soft glow gathered in the center. She pressed her hand to the screen without thinking. The glow brightened. She flinched back. The light didn't disappear. It expanded outward in a slow, graceful curve, like a blooming flower. It drifted through the air, shimmering softly, completely silent. Elara stared at the floating glow, breath held tight in her lungs. Her mind raced through every scientific explanation: phosphorescence, projection, optical illusion, hallucination. None made sense. The glow hovered a foot above her desk. Then it pulsed in the same rhythm as last night's signal. One pulse, two pulses, three. And with each pulse, the floor beneath her seemed to soften, as though the lab itself was dissolving into some gentler dimension. She backed away slowly, but the glow followed her, closely, patiently. As it neared her chest, she felt a warmth spread through her skin, gentle, like moonlight filtered through warm water. Then a whisper brushed her mind again. Listen back. The words were so quiet she almost thought she imagined them. She placed a trembling hand over her heart, and the warmth radiated outward as if syncing with her own pulse. She closed her eyes. The hum deepened. The glow dimmed. The room fell silent. When she opened her eyes, the glow was gone. The monitors were normal again. The data stream had stopped. The unknown node had vanished. It was as though nothing had happened at all. Except the warmth in her chest remained. It pulsed gently, rhythmically, like an echo being sustained by an unseen force. She collapsed into her chair, hands shaking as she rubbed her face. "This is not happening," she whispered, her voice cracking. "This is not real." But she knew it was.
Her phone buzzed suddenly, startling her. She glanced at the screen. A message from an unknown number. "You are not alone." Her heartbeat stuttered. Her fingers hovered over the screen, but she didn't touch it. A second message appeared before she could move. "Meet me at Caltech Observatory, 9 p.m. Come alone. Trust me, this is about the Orion signal." Elara's breath stopped for a moment. Whoever this was, they knew. Before she could think of replying, another message arrived. "Don't worry, I'm human." She let out a shaky laugh, part relief, part disbelief. Then another message. "For now." Her smile vanished instantly. A cold knot formed in her stomach. She stared at her reflection in the dark monitor, her eyes wide, her hair slightly disheveled, her skin pale. She didn't look like a scientist anymore. She looked like someone who had stepped 1 foot outside the boundaries of reality. She checked the time, 10:14 a.m. 9 p.m. was hours away, but she already felt the weight of the meeting pressing on her like gravity. She forced herself to leave the lab, go through normal motions, talk to colleagues, pretend everything was okay, pretend she wasn't being drawn into some colossal cosmic mystery. But throughout the day, the warm pulse in her chest persisted, always steady, always present. By evening, the sun dipped behind the San Gabriel Mountains, painting the sky in streaks of soft orange and magenta. Elara drove to the Caltech Observatory, her car's headlights slicing through the dimming twilight. The observatory sat atop a quiet hill, its dome gleaming faintly in the last rays of daylight. Most people had gone home. The parking lot was nearly empty. She stepped out of her car, cold air brushing her cheeks. The world felt strangely quiet, as though waiting. Footsteps approached behind her. Elara turned sharply. A man stood there, tall, late 30s perhaps, hair slightly unkempt, wearing a worn navy jacket. His eyes were sharp, alert, carrying the same expression of someone who has seen things he cannot explain and no longer tries to. "You're Dr. Elara Myles," he said softly. A statement, not a question. She nodded cautiously. "And you are?" "Someone who's been expecting you." The warmth in her chest pulsed once, strongly, almost like recognition. Elara stepped backward nervously. "How do you know about the signal? How do you know where I was?" The stranger raised both hands in a calming gesture. "I'll explain everything, but first you need to hear what I recorded. What you heard last night, it wasn't the first time." Her heartbeat caught. He continued, voice low and urgent. "That signal, it's been calling someone for weeks. We didn't know who, until now. And if my calculations are right, Orion isn't just sending a message, it's sending a summons." Elara felt the pulse in her chest throb hard, once, twice, like a response to his words. She whispered, "A summons for what?" The man's eyes darkened with something that looked like awe and fear intertwined. "For you, and for whatever is waking inside Orion." The wind rustled through the quiet observatory grounds. Somewhere deep within the sky, faint and far, a star flickered, once, twice, 3 times, like an echo of the signal. Elara shivered. Her world was no longer her own. For a moment,
Neither Elara nor the stranger spoke. The cool California night wrapped around them like a thin veil, soft, dark, and strangely expectant. A breeze brushed through the tall pines near the observatory, carrying the faint scent of dust, metal, and faraway stars. The dome above them reflected faint moonlight, shining like a half-open silver eye watching their conversation unfold. Elara swallowed, steadying her breath. "Who are you?" she asked again, her voice firmer this time, though still tinted with the uncertainty that clung to her like static. The man looked up briefly at the dome, as if checking whether it was listening. Then he stepped closer, stopping a respectful distance away. His voice dropped to a quiet murmur. "My name is Caleb Rowan. I used to work for a classified signal analysis program under NASA in coordination with," he hesitated, "with certain branches of the US government that don't officially exist." Elara felt a tingle crawl up her spine. Caleb continued, "6 weeks ago, we detected an anomaly, a signal unlike anything in our archives, not just unusual, impossible. At first, we thought it was a star formation echo or maybe an artificial reflection from deep space debris, but it kept repeating, evolving, as if adapting to us." Elara's heart pressed painfully against her ribs. "I heard something like that last night, and today, it felt almost like communication," Caleb said softly. "Yes, that's what I heard too." Elara's pulse quickened. "How did you know it was contacting me?" Caleb reached into his jacket slowly, carefully, and withdrew a small black device, sleek, rectangular, no buttons. He held it in his palm. Faint blue lines pulsed along its edges, like breath. Elara took an instinctive step back. "What is that?" Caleb exhaled. "A receiver. Not ours, not human. We don't know exactly what it is. We found it 2 weeks after the first signal appeared, in a patch of burned soil near an Arizona desert listening array. It was just lying there. No impact crater, no approach tracks, as if it materialized." Her mouth went dry. "And it's functional?" "It's more than functional," Caleb said, eyes narrowing. "It wakes up when the signal strengthens. It reacts almost like it's alive." The device pulsed once, brightly, and Elara felt the warmth in her chest respond with a subtle inner flutter. She froze. Caleb saw it. His breath caught. "It's resonating with you." Elara wrapped her arms around herself unconsciously, as if trying to shield the warm pulse glowing beneath her skin. "What does it want?" she whispered. "That's what I'm trying to figure out. But the truth is, you're the only person who's responded to the signal without any equipment, the first human to hear it directly. Whatever this is, whatever's calling from Orion, it's chosen you." Chosen. The word echoed inside her like a slow-moving wave. Elara looked up at the night sky, where Orion shimmered faintly above the horizon. The stars of the belt glowed like silver embers in the dark. Her voice was barely audible. "Why me?"
"I don't know," Caleb admitted, "but I know it's not random." He extended the black device toward her. Immediately, the warm pulse in her chest intensified, throbbing gently, like a soft drumbeat syncing with the object's light. Elara winced. "It's too strong!" Caleb pulled the device back slightly. The warmth eased. He watched her with troubled eyes. "That reaction proves it," he said. "You're attuned to it." Elara pressed her fingers to her chest, feeling her heartbeat struggling to match the rhythm pulsing through her. Attuned, like a receiver? More like a key, Caleb said quietly. A key that's been dormant until now. A tremor rippled through her body. She felt suddenly overwhelmed, small, fragile in the scale of the universe and the weight of whatever was awakening. Caleb must have sensed her fear because his tone softened. Elara, listen. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here because I think you're in danger. And not just from whatever's calling you, but from people who know what you heard. She stiffened. People? Human people. Caleb nodded grimly. There are powerful groups who would do anything to get their hands on someone who can hear a signal like this. Groups who view the unknown as a weapon, not a wonder. Which is why you need to trust me. Elara stared at him, torn between fear and instinct. He seemed genuine, exhausted, and the way the signal resonated with him, his understanding of it, felt too precise to be staged. But trust came hard to her, and everything felt too surreal, too vast. I don't know if I can trust anyone, she whispered. Caleb nodded with unexpected gentleness. You don't have to trust me. Just trust the part of you that felt the signal before you even knew it existed. As he said it, the warm pulse in her chest flared softly, as if agreeing. Elara inhaled shakily. What do I need to do? Caleb straightened. I'm going to show you something, but we need to go inside the observatory. Somewhere quiet, somewhere shielded. He gestured toward the heavy metal door at the base of the dome. Elara hesitated, then followed him. The door creaked faintly as Caleb pulled it open. Inside, the observatory was dim and cool. A single red floor light illuminated the circular room, casting long, soft shadows against the walls. The telescope loomed overhead, massive, elegant, like a sleeping giant of metal and mirrors. Caleb closed the door behind them and locked it. Elara frowned. Is that necessary? It is if we don't want to be overheard. Soundproofing's better in here, and the dome blocks outside frequencies. Elara approached the center of the room, running her fingers lightly across a table filled with scattered star charts, old notebooks, and a half-finished cup of cold tea someone had abandoned earlier. Caleb stepped beside her. What I'm about to show you is why I left the program. He lifted the black device again. Soft blue light spilled across the room, reflecting in Elara's eyes. At first, nothing happened. Then the device hummed, a low, steady tone that vibrated through the floor and into her bones. Elara gasped as the warmth in her chest surged in answer, stronger this time, almost pulling her forward. The blue light brightened into a soft sphere around the device. Elara stared.
Faint shapes flickered within the glow, like stars seen through water. The sphere expanded outward until it reached the walls, then stopped, holding its shape perfectly like a bubble of gentle light. What is it? Elara whispered. Caleb exhaled slowly. A map. The shapes shifted, aligning into patterns, curved lines, swirling nebulae, star clusters. Not a static chart, a living, breathing depiction of something vast. Elara's breath caught. That's Orion! But not the Orion humans see. It was deeper, layered with structures invisible to standard telescopes. Tunnels of energy, filaments of dark matter, braided like cosmic pathways, swirling columns that hummed softly with color. Elara felt tears prick her eyes, not from fear, but from awe. Caleb watched her carefully. This appeared the first time the device activated. None of us had ever seen anything like it. Some of the patterns match gravitational anomalies NASA detected years ago, but couldn't explain. Her finger hovered just inches from the glowing map. Why show me this?
Because there's more. Caleb's voice tightened. There's a point on the map, one that reacts only when the signal is strongest. He tapped the surface of the sphere lightly. A single star within the map brightened, a soft, slow pulse. Elara recognized the location immediately. The Orion Nebula. Not just the nebula, Caleb said, a specific region within it. As the pulsed, the temperature in the room seemed to drop a degree. The light dimmed and brightened like a heartbeat. Elara felt a tug in her chest, gentle, steady. She stepped closer. The pulsing intensified. Caleb stared at her, eyes widening. It's responding to you again. Elara felt her breath hitch. Why does it react to me? I think, Caleb said carefully, you're resonating with whatever intelligence created this device, and that intelligence is located, he pointed to the pulsing star, here. Elara stared at the glowing point. Something inside her shifted, like a memory stirring that wasn't hers. Then the whisper came, not through sound, but through sensation, soft, woven with light. We are waiting. Elara stumbled backward, hand pressed to her chest. Did you hear that? Caleb shook his head. I heard nothing. What happened? Elara's breath trembled. They spoke. The pulse in her chest throbbed again, slow, deliberate. And then the map flickered. A new shape emerged, a spiral of light curling outward from the star, something traveling, approaching. Caleb froze. That wasn't there before. Elara watched the spiral expand slowly across the cosmic map, moving away from Orion, toward a tiny blue dot labeled with Earth's coordinates. Her heart stopped. Caleb! I see it, he whispered. Something's coming. The spiral moved steadily, like a slow-moving storm across a cosmic sea. How vast! Elara breathed. Caleb's fingers flew across his data pad. His voice came out dry, almost hollow. Based on the simulation, whatever's approaching will reach our solar system in... He looked up, the color draining from his face. In less than 6 days. Elara's body went cold. The map pulsed. The warmth in her chest answered, and the whisper returned, clearer now, resonating directly within her. Prepare the path. The room darkened. The glow shrank back into the device. The map vanished. Elara and Caleb stood alone in the dim observatory, bathed in soft red light again, shaking and silent. Elara whispered the only question that mattered. What do they want from me? Caleb looked at her with the expression of a man standing at the edge of a vast unknown. I think, he said slowly, you're the one they're coming for.
For several long minutes, Elara and Caleb simply stood there in the dim observatory, the cool red safety light casting soft pools of shadow beneath their feet. The walls felt closer than before, the silence thicker. The dome above them, once peaceful, now seemed to curve inward like a great listening ear, as though the universe itself leaned closer to hear what they would say next. Elara wrapped her arms around her torso, not for warmth, but for grounding. Her breathing was shallow, her thoughts racing, yet strangely detached, like drifting clouds skimming over deep water. They're coming for me? She whispered. Caleb didn't answer right away. He looked at the device in his hand, its lights now dim again, as if exhausted from the display. When he finally spoke, his voice was steady but unbearably gentle. I think they've been coming for a long time. They've just finally woken you up enough to notice. A tremor ran down Elara's back. I don't understand. For several long minutes, Elara and Caleb simply stood there in the dim observatory, the cool red safety light casting soft pools of shadow beneath their feet. The walls felt closer than before, the silence thicker. The dome above them, once peaceful, now seemed to curve inward like a great listening ear, as though the universe itself leaned closer to hear what they would say next. Elara wrapped her arms around her torso, not for warmth, but for grounding. Her breathing was shallow, her thoughts racing, yet strangely detached, like drifting clouds skimming over deep water. "They're coming for me?" she whispered. Caleb didn't answer right away. He looked at the device in his hand, its lights now dim again, as if exhausted from the display. When he finally spoke, his voice was steady but unbearably gentle. "I think they've been coming for a long time. They've just finally woken you up enough to notice." A tremor ran down Elara's back. "I don't understand. Why would anything intelligent, anything beyond our world, be interested in me?" Caleb shook his head. "I used to think the universe didn't choose, that it didn't reach out, that we were the ones always reaching, always knocking on doors that might never open." He looked at her with a strange, quiet intensity. "But maybe sometimes the door opens on its own." Elara turned toward the giant telescope. The massive structure loomed over her, a monument of human curiosity aimed at the heavens. Tonight, it felt small, tiny compared to whatever had just spoken inside her mind. "Caleb," she murmured, steadying her breath. "If something is coming from Orion, 6 days away, what are we supposed to do?" Caleb slipped the device into his jacket, then leaned against the edge of a control console. "That's why I wanted to meet you. Because I've been tracking the spiral since the moment it appeared. At first, it was too faint, just a distortion in the map. But over time, it grew stronger, more coherent. And last night," he paused. "Last night was the first time it changed direction." Elara blinked. "Changed direction?" Caleb nodded solemnly. "Until then, it wasn't aimed at Earth. It was drifting, meandering, like a particle caught in a cosmic current. But after your encounter with the signal, after the moment you heard the words," Elara's chest tightened. "After they said, 'You are late.'" "Exactly." Caleb's expression hardened, not in anger, but in grim realization. "It was waiting for you. And once you listened, once you connected, that's when it turned." Elara felt her pulse quicken, the warmth in her chest responding like a dim ember stirred by wind. "But what are they expecting me to do? I'm just an astrophysicist. I don't have the skill or power to—" "You underestimate yourself," Caleb interrupted quietly. "Not everyone can hear a signal through their own mind. Not everyone feels a cosmic resonance directly in their body. I've worked with people who've spent decades trying to create artificial telemetric receivers capable of decoding deep space sympathetic frequencies. But you're doing it naturally." Elara's stomach dipped. "Sympathetic frequencies?" "Frequencies that don't just transmit information, they transmit intention, meaning, shape of thought. They bypass hardware and interact with biology. Most species, if they exist,
probably use them instinctively. But humans weren't supposed to. Elara felt coldness spread across her skin like a thin frost. Then,
A sharp prick of fear pierced her calm. How much? More every hour. Caleb rubbed the back of his neck, which means whatever it is, it's moving with purpose. Elara sat on a low metal bench near the telescope, resting her hands in her lap. Her thumb brushed against her palm unconsciously, a small, comforting gesture she'd carried since childhood. She thought of her quiet apartment, her half-finished papers, her soft blankets, her shelves of star charts. The life she had meticulously built from the quiet corners of the world. She whispered, "I didn't ask for this." "I know," Caleb said softly. "Nobody would." She looked up at him suddenly. "What about others? People in your program? Did anyone else react to the signal the way I did?" Caleb's expression darkened. "One." Elara straightened, breath catching. "Who?" "A scientist named Dr. Miriam Hale. Brilliant. Genius-level astrophysicist. She heard an echo of the signal once. Just once." He swallowed. "And it changed her. Not in the way it's affecting you. Not physically. But mentally. She became obsessed with it. She started seeing patterns everywhere. Mathematical spirals in lights, in electrical noise, in the static between radio calls. She believed the universe was speaking to her." Elara felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "What happened to her?" she whispered. He hesitated, looked away. She disappeared. Elara's pulse slowed. "Disappeared?" He nodded. "Walked out of her lab one night and was never seen again. No camera footage, no tracks, no signals from her phone. It was like she simply dissolved out of existence." Elara felt a chill sweep through her limbs. "You think the signal took her?" "I don't know." Caleb's voice cracked just slightly. "But I know she heard something she wasn't ready for, something that scrambled her sense of self. And whatever it was, she followed it." He looked directly at Elara. "I don't want that to happen to you." A tremor shook her breath. "It won't." "How can you be sure?" Caleb asked, voice soft but firm. Elara pressed her hand gently over her chest. The warmth inside her pulsed once. Gentle, steady, not painful or overwhelming. "Because I'm not afraid of it," she said quietly. "Not exactly." Caleb studied her. "What do you feel when it speaks to you?" Elara closed her eyes. At first, she thought of the moment she had heard the words, "You are late." The surprise, the disbelief, the fear. But beneath all of that was something subtler, deeper. "It feels," she searched for the right word, "familiar." Caleb stiffened slightly. "Familiar how?" Elara's brow furrowed. Like a memory I never made. Like something ancient that I've always known, but forgotten till now. She opened her eyes. "It's peaceful. Strange, but peaceful. And when it speaks, it feels like it knows me." Caleb stared at her with an expression she couldn't interpret. Not disbelief, not fear. Something more complex. "Elara, you don't realize how extraordinary that is." "It doesn't feel extraordinary," she argued softly. "It feels like I'm waking up." The words slipped from her without thinking. They surprised even her. Caleb exhaled slowly. then maybe that's exactly what it wants from you. Elara looked back up at Orion through the narrow slit window high on the dome. The stars of the constellation shimmered faintly through the glass. The faraway glow pulsed with a softness that made her breath steady. "What do they expect me to prepare?" she murmured. Caleb joined her gaze. The message said, "Prepare the path." If we interpret it literally, maybe they need a receiver, or a location, or some connection point.
Or maybe it's not a physical path, Elara whispered, words forming on instinct. Maybe it's an internal one. Caleb's head tilted slightly. Meaning? Maybe the path is awareness, understanding, openness. She pressed her hand flat against her warm chest. Maybe it's about aligning with whatever's coming. Caleb didn't speak at first. When he did, his tone was cautious.
Elara, if that's true, then you might be the only one capable of doing it.
Elara didn't answer. She watched the sky instead, letting the silence settle into her bones. Minutes passed. Finally, Caleb pushed off the console.
We don't have long before others catch the anomaly in the deep space data. When they do, they'll start locking things down. We need to move now.
Elara stood slowly. Where?
To my safe house. It's shielded from most signal surveillance, and we'll have access to tools we can use to track the spiral more precisely.
Elara nodded. But as they stepped toward the exit, the warmth in her chest intensified suddenly. Sharp, powerful, luminous. She gasped, clutching her shirt.
Elara, what's happening? What do you feel?
A pulse, then another, each stronger than the last, and then a vision. It hit her like a wave. A dark sky swirling with soft violet mist. A massive structure of light unfurling through space like a luminous cathedral. A presence, vast, ancient, patient, watching her. 3 words drifted into her mind like falling feathers. We are close. Elara staggered. Caleb caught her elbow, steadying her. Elara, talk to me. What did you see? She opened her eyes, breath unsteady. They're approaching faster, much faster than before. Caleb's face blanched. How fast? Elara swallowed. Hours, not days. Caleb's grip tightened on her arm.
Elara, whatever is coming, whatever is seeking you, it'll be here before the world is ready.
Elara looked again at Orion through the window. The stars pulsed. Once, twice, 3 times, and the warmth in her chest answered. We arrive with dawn.
Elara's mind was a storm of sensation, yet a strange calm settled deep inside her bones. The warmth in her chest pulsed steadily now, syncing with the faint glow that had begun emanating from the black device Caleb carried. The observatory around them seemed smaller than before, almost fragile, as though the universe had suddenly contracted to a single point where she and Caleb were standing. Caleb guided her through the winding corridors of the observatory's lower levels, passing through rooms of metal shells, dormant machinery, and stacks of forgotten data pads. The fluorescent lights flickered faintly, shadows twisting along the walls like restless thoughts. Each step she took echoed unnaturally, the sound swallowed by the vast, silent emptiness that lay beyond the building, waiting. Finally, they reached a reinforced door marked Restricted, Signal Research. Caleb scanned a hand over a biometric pad. The locks clicked open, releasing a hiss of compressed air. Inside was a space unlike any lab she had seen. Dim, ambient lighting bathed the room in a gentle amber glow, illuminating a semicircle of equipment that hummed softly, as if breathing.
Screens flickered with raw cosmic data, some streaming from satellite arrays, others from unknown sources. And in the center of the room floated a suspended orb of light, not the black device, but something larger, a sphere about the size of a beach ball, radiating subtle pulses that synchronized with the warmth in her chest. Elara's breath caught. What is that? Caleb's eyes didn't leave the orb. This, he said slowly, is the amplification field. It's designed to enhance whatever connection you have with the signal. The resonance between you and Orion, it's unlike anything we've ever measured. The field stabilizes it, allows you to interact without being overwhelmed. She felt the orb's warmth reach her, brushing against her senses like a gentle tide. Her chest throbbed, responding naturally. She had never felt anything like this. It was peaceful, mesmerizing, and terrifying all at once. "You're going to help me communicate?" she asked, voice trembling. "Not just communicate," Caleb corrected. "You're going to help them prepare." Elara's brow furrowed. "Prepare? For what?" Caleb hesitated. "For their arrival." Her stomach dropped. "Arrival? Here on Earth?" He nodded. "Based on what we're seeing in the spiral, yes, they are not far. Hours, maybe less than a day. That's why we don't have time to waste, and that's why we need you." Elara swallowed hard. "Why me? Why not someone else?" Caleb's expression softened, though the tension in his jaw remained. "Because you're attuned, because you can hear them directly, and because you're ready, or close enough."
She swallowed, trying to process what he had just said. Her life until now had been filled with data, telescopes, quiet nights staring at distant stars. She had always felt small, ordinary, insignificant. And yet here she was, standing on the precipice of something cosmic, something she could barely comprehend. Caleb approached the orb, adjusting dials and controls on a nearby panel. "This will stabilize the resonance. Once you're connected, you'll be able to perceive them more clearly. Not visually, though perhaps in time, but in ways you haven't imagined. You'll feel their presence, their intent, and you'll be able to guide the spiral to its destination." Elara's chest tightened. "Guide it? How? I don't even know what I'm doing." "You'll know," Caleb said softly. "Instinctively. That's the part of you that resonates with them. Trust it. Trust yourself." For a moment, she looked at the glowing orb, its gentle pulses echoing her own heartbeat. Fear gripped her, but underneath it, a spark of determination flickered. If this was what she was born to do, she would not shrink from it. Caleb stepped aside. "Ready?" Elara took a deep breath, nodding. "Ready." She stepped toward the orb, and as her hand hovered near its surface, the device in Caleb's hand pulsed once, sending a wave of soft blue light across the room. The warmth in her chest surged, a gentle flood of energy that spread from her heart outward, filling every nerve, every cell, every thought. She closed her eyes. Suddenly, the room fell away. She was no longer standing in the observatory. The walls, the machinery, the consoles, all vanished. Instead, she floated in an infinite expanse of soft violet light, stars scattered like dust across the vast darkness. The spiral she had seen in the map earlier now stretched before her, a colossal, luminous ribbon of energy winding through the void. It was alive, shimmering, thrumming with purpose. And at the center of the spiral, she felt them, presence, immense, vast, not threatening, yet impossible to ignore. It was as if the universe itself had taken form, and it was looking at her, listening to her heartbeat, acknowledging her existence. A voice, soft, resonant, not in words, but in emotion, brushed against her mind. "You have come. We have waited." Her chest surged again, and the warmth became a bright, steady flame. She instinctively reached out with her mind, touching the spiral. A jolt of understanding passed through her.
not in words, not in equations, but in pure comprehension. The spiral wasn't just traveling, it was searching, scanning, aligning with something or someone, aligning with her. Guide us, the presence whispered, in feeling rather than sound. Prepare the path. Elara's mind whirled. She felt the spiral's motion respond to her thoughts, slowing, bending, twisting at her unspoken command. Every pulse in her chest synced with the spiral's rhythm. Every thought she projected radiated outward, touching the filament of light stretching across the cosmos. She felt Caleb's presence beside her, faint but grounding, guiding her consciousness back toward the physical plane, reminding her she was human even as she floated in this cosmic space. Hours seemed to pass in seconds. The spiral elongated, expanded, and aligned with Earth's position, approaching the solar system at a velocity that was simultaneously impossible and undeniable. Elara felt the pull of gravity and light in ways she had never experienced, and through it all, the warm pulse within her chest acted as a tether, a channel connecting her to the approaching entity. Finally, the violet expanse began to fade. The observatory materialized around her once more. The orb hovered in the center, its soft amber light pulsing gently. Caleb knelt beside her, sweat glistening on her forehead. "You did it," he whispered. "You aligned it. The spiral is on course." Elara gasped, trembling. It listened." Caleb nodded. "Yes, and now we wait, but not passively. We must prepare the next phase. They are coming closer, very close." Elara's chest flared once more with warmth. A soft voice or emotion echoed in her mind. "Prepare yourself. We arrive with dawn." Outside, the sky was turning the soft color of early morning. The first pale light brushed the edges of the mountains, and far beyond, past the horizon, the spiral shimmered faintly in the void of space, moving with purpose, guided by her pulse, guided by her mind. Elara closed her eyes. She let herself breathe, letting the warmth settle into every part of her body. She was not afraid, not completely, not yet, because for the first time she understood that she was not alone. Something vast, ancient, and intelligent was reaching out to her, and somehow she had reached back. The dawn crept over the mountains, painting the observatory in gentle gold, and somewhere beyond Earth, the spiral moved closer, a cosmic tide responding to the human who had finally learned to listen. And she knew she had only just begun.